Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, this is the huge brain squad.
Fuck, let's go, dude.
All of your highest stats are for intelligence. So it's gonna be funny when you have to like open a stone door or something. All right, so I think we can get started. So how this is beginning is all of you have been brought in as basically like hired mercenaries in a way into this near the village of Svindale. Each of you, for your own various reasons, has found yourselves into the employee of kind of the military of Gwyntar, which is the kingdom you're currently located in. You all traveled along the roads and reached this peculiar area where you notice it seems just like a regular road kind of leading along, and suddenly there's this large wooden fence surrounding where you thought would be a village. On the outside of the fence, you see a couple of smaller military tents here and there, and you see like a larger one with a couple of columns set up and kind of more spacious build. When you from the note that you've been given by your relative employers, you've been told to head inside of this. You're going to meet an important contact in this larger tented area that's going to explain to you kind of what your mission is and what your goal is, and like basically what you're getting paid for. You arrive at somewhat like similar times, and you kind of all are about to, you kind of see some other people heading inside of this larger tent. You see there's a stream of, well, not a stream, but there's a couple of guards, heading in and out, and like either carrying rather various tools or, just going about their business. And of course there's guards patrolling this large wooden fence. At this point, you guys can kind of you see a couple of other people that don't seem like your average guards, which is the three of you. At this point, you guys can kind of describe how you're entering this area, and maybe a little bit of how you look. Anyone want to jump in first?
I come on my, what's his name, Steel Defender, and I'm taking a rest on him. I'm having a beer, and I look like this.
All right, I won't be able to bring that image up, unfortunately. Actually, wait, I have to at least see it on my phone. 1 second.
I posted in the general chat.
Yeah. I'm gonna open it. I just can't switch to Discord on my computer.
It's pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Is it like a golem you have or something? Like a companion?
It's a Steel Defender. It's a robot.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just wasn't 100% sure today. Okay.
That's like an engineer. So he comes running in, and it looks something like a dog or something like that, right?
It's just like a quadruped. It's not like
a quad. Okay, yeah.
It doesn't look very elaborate. It's just
right. It's more like functional.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So he comes running in, and you're about to reach kind of the entrance to this tent. A couple of the guards kind of stop to like, they almost stop to gawk at you, but then they kind of like keep on going because they're fairly well trained.
I give them a polite wait.
They kind of give you, they nod at you, kind of like acknowledging you, and they understand kind of, oh, the mercenaries have arrived. At this point, Vasa, do you want to maybe introduce yourself?
Sure. So you see kind of this cloaked figure, like a very dark green kind of cloak with the hood up, fair skin, kind of a thin curled mustache, and some fairly short brown hair.
Is it the mustache that the villains go like?
Yes, pretty much. Clearly, very clearly, Asimar. And there's a slight kind of like swiftness to his step.
I see.
And he approaches the tent as well.
Awesome. All right, and Malik?
I look like a pretty tall robot with red eyes. I kind of look dirtied up, and I walk in looking at both of you guys, and I'm like, I am under the command of the captain. Whatever the guy's name is.
Good to meet you.
Ditto.
I have recently awakened.
From your
Likewise.
slumber, or?
It's been many decades. I
see.
fought a war in a war. And
Wars
now,
do tend to be in wars.
And now, everything seems so peaceful. I am not sure what my purpose is.
Sorry, go ahead.
As it seems to be for now to make coin.
I'll have to agree.
As you're saying this, a guard kind of walks out of the tent and kind of looks at you. Oh, there you are. Okay, it's he looks at. Yep, looks like everybody's accounted for. All right. He kind of is like slightly taken aback by the look of the like Warforged standing in front of him. He's a little surprised. Not often that you see that. And he has heard some fairly scary stories about them in the past. But he's like, all right, well, time for you to all head inside. The doctor's waiting for you. He kind of motions you to follow along as he kind of parts like the entranceway of the tent and heads on inside.
We shall proceed.
Is it like a short walk, or is there time for like a comment or two?
Yeah. It's like you're like as you're entering, it's like maybe like a couple like 30 seconds or so.
Well, okay, just a quick kind of aside while we're walking and just asking. So, gentlemen, what are your talents? Why have you been picked for the job? What can you bring to the table?
I am not living nor dead. I think that might come in use for whatever we may face.
I see. And Zemnil, how about you?
I just want to get paid.
I guess we actually don't know names yet. But
Oh yeah, metagamer.
shit.
What the fuck is that?
Damn it. And yourself, little one.
You dick.
I mean,
I just want to get paid.
Fair enough. Well, my name is Vasa. I'm a student of the arcane.
Zamno, pleased to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Malik Smurti.
Wonderful to meet you all.
Let's get to it then.
As you head inside, the guard kind of notices, like, huh, wasn't aware your kind had names like that. You must have had a special creator. Kind of like just mumbling to himself. As you head inside, you see there's a little bit of you head inside the tent and it's like a little bit it's like there are lamps and stuff hanging, so it's not too dark, but the air is like a little bit hazy and smells a little strange. There's a couple of guards here and there kind of just standing watch, and you heading kind of like into a main room that's full with all sorts of it seems to be there's a couple of arcane devices lying around, and there's a couple of arcane devices and some just like surgical tools lying here and there. You see like this figure in this like kind of longer kind of robe. Imagine like a lab coat but like black, and kind of a mask on his face. He seems to be motioning to some guards, and they're bringing stuff around, and he's every once in a while he takes in like a paper from them, reads it, sets it aside, and then kind of notes some stuff down in a notebook. He looks towards you as you approach, like, "Oh, you have arrived. Come on in. I've been waiting for you for quite some time. Have you had a pleasant journey on your way into here?"
Can't complain.
No problems for me.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, I am glad to hear that. Unfortunately, I can't guarantee the pleasantness of your journey from here on out, but that's why you're getting paid, isn't it? Let's let us begin. Please take a seat. He motions to some guards, and they pull up a couple of seats, and he kind of motions you to them.
I take a seat.
I don't, because I'm already in a much more comfortable position.
You're still riding your thing.
Defender.
Yeah.
I attempt to sit, but like I'm very rusty, so a lot of
like
cracks and clanks are happening.
as you're trying to sit down.
And as I sit, the chair breaks because like I couldn't sit properly, and my guy weighs like a ton.
Oh yeah, your guy does weigh a ton. He's like,
Oh shit.
"Oh, forgive me. I should have taken that into account. Would you like something more hard to sit on? I can have them bring in a stone or something of the kind."
No worries. Do not make the men do extra work. I shall stand.
Understood. And I must say, you have some of the most wonderful contraptions in here. Is he one of yours? And he kind of looks to Zamno. Yeah, like with
My works tend to be a bit more advanced, but
My eyes glow
I
red.
understand the confusion.
like, oh, forgive me. It is an honor to meet one of your kind that has their sentience on their own. It is an uncommon sight around these parts, at least. Let us begin. He he lays flat a couple of scrolls on this table, and kind of within an area that's cleared of most of his other tools. We have been overtaken with a most curious situation. There has been, and I trust that the coin has your silence. Unusual outbreak in the village of Svindale. Our scouts have reported that there is a form of disease spreading that seems to cause curious things happening to the mind of the inhabitants. It begins like any regular illness. You're coughing, lightheadedness, and such. But then some of the inhabitants began reporting quite strange occurrences. They start hearing voices, and other speeches. We unfortunately at first this was dismissed as mere feverish delirium. However, at a certain point the voices don't seem to go away, and the inhabitants seem to go, in the worst cases, into a state of almost madness. It is an unfortunate case, and it seems to be spreading rather rapidly within the within the village's population. We had to take, of course, drastic measures to ensure the safety of the nearby villages, and God forbid this spread to any town nearby. That is why these quarantine measures have been put into place. We are, of course, have had some advancements. We've heard of only one or two similar outbreaks in the past, but from what we learned, we have been able to develop a couple of experimental, not yet cures, but countermeasures to what is happening. And he kind of, you notice there's a kind of large chest, kind of near his table, and he inserts a couple of keys, turns them, and opens up this chest and pulls out, by these ropes, a couple of dangling necklaces or amulets. He lays out exactly 4 of them on the table. You see they seem to have a stone in the center that's just very slightly kind of glowing, and there's all sorts of carvings on the amulet itself. We have been studying a couple of other disease-resistant forces in these worlds, and we believe that these should help you in being safe from this disease. Our goal is to ensure that we are able to find a cure to this, because we don't want to just continue having to be forced into containment measures. Unfortunately, these amulets are rather expensive to manufacture and take quite some time to develop, and we don't have enough of a supply to distribute to this village as a whole. What your goal here is, you must travel inside of this village. You yourselves are to wear these 3 amulets, as we can't risk you having being diseased in any way and spreading it out beyond the village. Your goal is to select one person from the village that you see has this illness, but has ideally not progressed too far into this. We fear that if the progression has gone too far, we won't be able to extract as much useful data on a cure for this disease. However, we could, if somebody is still not too far into the progression, we could have something useful. And this amulet should work both ways, in the sense of the person wearing it will be isolated from spreading to others as well. The guards also have... Sorry.
Go on, my friend.
The guards also would like you to deliver some supplies into the village itself, seeing as it's difficult to send in. We've been, sending in just supplies on just a horse on its own, but we need a fresh shipment of horses, as you understand they themselves also can't leave the village after they've entered. So there would be some supplies that we would be appreciative if you help deliver into the village itself. And that is your goal. I know you've already signed your contracts, but I just need your confirmation this final time.
Absolutely.
All seems fine.
I have a question.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
For the sick beyond healing, shall we exterminate them to prevent accidental spread?
He looks down. You can't really see an expression on his face due to the mask, but he seems to, kind of sigh a little bit. Yeah, that is a good question. I hope it hasn't come to that. We don't want to cause mass panic at this point. From what I've heard, however, most of the people the villagers have actually organized themselves fairly well to contain most people within the tavern itself. That will be your main location to look inside of. Beyond that, I think if anybody's madness has progressed to the point where they are a danger to yourselves or to others within the village, you do have the king's permission to take matters into your own hands.
Hold on now a moment. If the symptoms are that the people get angry, if they have a madness, then how can we tell the people who are early in a progression?
Mostly they should still be of somewhat sound mind. It would be hard...
How do you judge somewhat from truly sound? You see, this is we may get a person who's, for example, simply senile.
That is part of the difficulty of your decision. We have a couple of things. The main thing would be them hearing the voices inside their heads. Of course, that would mean that I do agree on your point around the senileness. Ideally, you wouldn't, unfortunately, just pick somebody that is far too elderly. As you are correct, they may be, unfortunately, just having a degrading mind rather than, hearing things due to the cause of this illness. So that is a very good point you brought up. Is that you would rather pick?
So we must look for a youth.
Yes, ideally a youth.
I think I have enough to go on.
Yep, that was my question exactly. Is how you would determine who is of sound mind or who has progressed into the later stages of the disease. But
that is enough for me. I think we may depart, gentlemen.
It's good for me.
Let's go.
So he hands you the amulets, and kind of just head down the road, and you'll meet the captain at the main gate. He should be able to give you any final instructions and allow you to proceed past the guards.
Very well. I turn around, my automate on, and I put my gear stick in reverse. I get out of the tent, and then I go to the gates.
Do you rev it as well?
Yeah, like a vroom, vroom.
As you leave a little trail of smoke as you come out. He's like fascinating technology. As you head on out. As you proceed on out into kind of, and you kind of continue. You start traveling a little bit down the road. You just need to go a little bit farther up the road until you reach this main area on the this kind of front area. 1 second, sorry. This kind of entrance area on the road itself. At this point, you see a couple of guards kind of standing in front at the main entrance, very vigilantly. There's some with pikes and a couple of others with shields and swords on them. As you head forward, you see one with a helmet that has a little bit more of this kind of a little bit of this winged structure on it. You recognize him to be the captain. He motions for his soldiers to hold still at the entrance as he kind of walks towards you. And kind of extends his hands in greeting to you. As head forward. Greetings. I trust you are the good soldiers that have been hired to carry out this special mission.
Not quite soldiers, but yes.
Right, I should have been more clear. Unofficially, you are now, or you're semi-official agents of the Crown. At this point,
Of course.
he's like, I trust the good doctor has given you the details of your mission.
Yes, we've been briefed. Anything to report at the front gate?
Understood. At this point, you have a couple of tasks I must assign to you. He kind of first of all he pulls out a couple of these small rings, and they bear on it the symbol of Gwyntar on them. He hands each one of you one of these rings. These rings shall signify you as temporary agents of the Crown. They shall give you a little extra authority and make sure that you properly act and interact with any of our representatives. Now, I understand the situation in the village is rather dire. The issue being that they have been held up there for a couple of weeks at this point. The issue being is that supplies are beginning to run low. They have various stocks on hand, of course, but being early in the summer, it is still, all the harvests haven't come in yet. And we need to deliver more supplies to ensure the safety of the village. That over there is a wagon with all the supplies necessary, and you see a rather large wagon. Unfortunately, the issue is we have run out of horses that we can dispose of right now that can be sent into the village itself. What I need you is to either carry those supplies inside, or rather somehow bring the whole wagon with yourselves. Now, I have another request. And he kind of like motions for his soldiers to stand back and stay there. And he's like, come with me for a little bit of a walk. And he kind of motions you and you guys, and he kind of like strolls off the road a little bit and just like goes like off into like the kind of just like flat land, and motions you to follow.
No,
see everybody kind
I'll
of follows
follow.
along. You see, this is a rather sensitive matter. When we initially put the village under quarantine, we noticed something strange. One of the houses seems to be empty, despite having a family recently living there. When we initially put it under the first quarantine, we weren't as perhaps as careful, and we would have soldiers, some scouts being sent inside. Once we realized the full scale of the situation, we've stopped sending scouts inside. However, the issue is that during that time, it seems to be that one family has disappeared. We don't know if they're hiding somewhere within the confines of these walls, or if they've somehow managed to evade our patrols and escape. As you can understand, if they have escaped, that is a rather unpleasant situation for us to be in. The consequences could be devastating. I can't have this news escaping just yet. That is why I must rely on your silence and ensuring that even within my soldiers, I can't have this causing any panic. That is why you must go inside and find out what happened to them. It is the carpenter's home. You can ask around the town about their family.
Do we have a name for this family?
1 second. Once the captain's brain processes he opens up a book and starts rifling through his notes. Give me 1 second. The one thing I forgot to open. It is the Rugard family. Stephen Rugard and his family there. They have vanished without a trace. Him, his wife, and his 2 children. It is most worrying, especially with 4 people out on the loose. You need to track them down and figure out what has been going on. He was the local carpenter and provided a lot of goods for the inn and the rest of the villagers. So he was rather well liked. I am sure there are a good number of those that would have offered to help him if they could.
Right. Let me just quickly make a note of that. How's their name spelt?
Rugard. Rugard.
All right. Just to make sure. Well, I think that will be enough for us. What about you, gentlemen?
We should go and investigate.
No,
Has
I
there been
agree.
any leads at all, or were they just discovered missing?
From our scouts' reports, we have a few if you rather potentially important leads, I would start with the innkeeper. He's one of the most well connected in the town. The innkeeper, he works closely with the carpenters. As the inn is constantly in need of various repairs, new furniture and the such. There's also a local blacksmith in town as well. He's a slightly strange one, as he's a dwarf, the only one living in this town, and I believe from speaking with some of the villagers, he has not been a permanent resident here. He has moved here only in the last couple of years.
I see.
What an unfortunate time to move.
Agreed.
Well, I think it's best we don't waste any time before this progresses anywhere, say, gents?
Yes, I agree.
All right, then. Let me just shift the old gear stick. Now let's get going.
I'm just imagining you're like those guys floating around the thing. You know from WALL-E? They're just fucking like just zooming around on their chairs.
Kind of.
All right. So he's like, all right. With that, I wish good luck.
Thank you. We might well need it.
May the king's will be with you.
You as well.
He gives you kind of a slight bow and motions you in. He signs to the guards, let them through, as you continue, as the guards kind of like step aside and are ready to let you through. He also motions you to look towards the cart, which he has asked you to get into the village somehow.
I definitely put on the necklace.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So he motions you to the there's like a cart with some supplies on it, various like grains and food, and just like some bandages and the such, to be sent into.
I get like, those things that connect cars to like a boat behind them, and I connect that thing to my defender and I just tow it into the village.
So I'm guessing you just use some like rope to like tie on to it.
No, my thing has like a built-in like connector thingy,
Yeah, like a little,
like a grapple, which
I see. Yeah, because you can like shape it in almost any form, from what I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you grapple it on. So your defender and Malik together are trying to move this cart, right?
Yeah.
So nice. We can finally have our first roll. I'll have Malik do the roll with, and you can do it at advantage for. Actually, do you have a strength? Can you roll strength for the defender or something?
Yeah, +2.
Okay, nice. So if you guys can both roll that, your strength score, so just a general strength check.
Rip.
The thing is, my thing's strength is different from me, so I'll probably do it in roll 20.
Okay, yeah.
Fuck, how do I roll here?
Did it show up for you?
Yeah, wait, is that the 1d10 that you got? Or did you roll something else, Malik?
I saw it have here. Yeah. 1d20 +2.
Oh,
I got an 18.
Maybe while I have it. Oh, I think while I have it out of focus, it might not update on here. Okay, I see. And you got an 18?
Yeah, 16 +2.
Okay, yeah, I see
You
that.
can see on roll 20.
Yeah. So Malik, kind of like uses like some like kind of rope tied to him, and alongside with the Steel Defender, you kind of start pushing. As you do so, Malik.
Well, I pull.
Sorry, sorry. You start. Yeah, he kind of pushes it from behind, and your Steel Defender pulls it. Unfortunately, like the ground is a bit soft underneath, and there's some like loose stones underneath Malik's feet, and he kind of starts, like when a car just starts spinning its wheels on the spot. So he kind of like starts pushing, but it's like the ground underneath him is kind of just like going back and sliding back instead. But suddenly the cart just jolts forward, but you manage to kind of like hold yourself without falling suddenly from the jolt. As the Steel Defender manages to kind of pull it along, and then you kind of continue helping push it. So you
take it easy there, friend.
I will.
Good man.
So you manage. So your Steel Defender's like progressing along this gravel. It's making a little bit of like scrapes on the gravel as it like kind of indentations as it's progressing along, but it's managing to pull this rather large cart. You manage to make it past the wall, and whereas before you only saw the tops of the buildings, you now see the rest of this village. Inside, you see in the right at the beginning, you see a couple of things. You see this. You see like a bit of a smaller building, and next to it this large, the largest building in the whole village, which has a bit of smoke coming out, and all the windows seem kind of closed shut. You suspect that to be the inn itself. And with this smaller building in front of it, there's a couple of buildings on the sides with some patch, a bit of a garden, a smaller one, and then two of these large like separate buildings on the side that seem to have the gardens divided into. You see, as you continue to kind of like trudge forward, well in the center of town, it seems to be kind of one of the main water sources for this town. As geographically, the nearest river is a bit farther off from this village, so this is their main source of kind of water in this area. Towards the end of this kind of like circle is you see a little bit of like a fire and like something more coming out. You recognize it to be a sort of smeltery, or like an area where the blacksmith would be working. The other buildings, you're not quite sure what they are yet. They seem to be something where people are probably also like people living, or like farmers and such. And next to the inn is one of the other largest buildings in the town, which is this map is slightly not to scale. I need to slightly scale up this building, but this other building next to the inn is one of the largest ones and looks to house a very large family. And behind the village, you see some like rocky outcrops and like a bit of a forest, but you see that the wooden fence seems to continue on and kind of disappear into the forest. You're assuming it must be continued throughout. At this point, it is up to you to decide where you want to continue to. Actually, sorry. As you come inside, you see a couple of things. As you get closer to around this close to the, you're like right near the smaller building. You see out in front of the inn. You kind of recognize it to be now the inn. As you see, there's a sign out in front of it. There's like the sign reads the Daring Duck Inn, and it has like a sign of like a little duck wearing like adventure clothes, and he's like striding forward with like one of those, those like satchels that you carry on your back. He's like striding forward. And in front of it, you notice there's two people there standing. They look kind of odd because they have pitchforks in their hands, and they're wearing potato sacks over their head with just like eye holes and a mouth hole cut out.
I whisper to my comrades, this does not look good.
When does it
No,
ever?
it does not.
Rather sinister, I would say. I carefully, unsling my rifle just in case.
How close are we to them?
You're about over here, and they're standing right by the inn over here. It's maybe like 30 feet or so.
Okay, pull out my arm blade at the ready.
I like rest my rifle on my like stomach, just like nonchalantly, like I'm not planning to do anything, but in a way that, if I need it, I can just fucking shoot someone.
Do you two guys want to roll intimidation?
No, not yet. Well, hello there, good friends.
As
I call out the men.
As you guys to approach, seeing that you're bared weapons, they suddenly go into like a oh! Who the hell are you?
Here,
Throw down your weapons.
Save one lucky person.
They're like, they kind of like, you just hear some whispering back and forth. They're like, what do you mean? Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, you see, me and my associates here, are my charming friends. We were assigned with the mission that we have to take one person here whose plague infection is in a very early stage, and we get them out of here with an amulet that we were given. This way they can be studied, and some experimental inoculation, we'll call it, maybe perhaps developed from them.
Like, he kind of just like, leans back a little bit in confusion. He's like, and then the other one looks at him. Ah, Roger, relax. Hey, guy, what do you have to actually? What proof do you have of any of this? You kind of just strolled into town. I saw the guards let you through. And he's like, they must be telling something here. Do you have a?
Why do you think they let us through in the first place? Come on, man, be reasonable.
The other one's like. The other one kind of puts his hands on his shoulder. Relax, man. Just think you with your head. And he's like,
as this is happening, I'm like taking my hand out of my sleeve, like, because they were kind of crossed, and just like showing the ring with the the Gwintar symbol.
Yeah. So you kind of like, as you do it, kind of in like this certain motion, like their eyes are drawn to it. It's like they're like, you see, they're agents of the king. Fucking you idiot! Lower your pitchfork. And as he kind of he kind of like sets it back by his side and kind of stands with it by his side. It's like, so sorry about that. I should have understood. You're agents of the king. My apologies. I meant no disrespect. You just you look rather menacing, to tell you the truth.
Curious choice to be hostile in times like these.
Everybody's.
I'm a man of the engineering trade. We don't have much time to look very friendly. My apologies, brothers.
I was like, yeah. Don't mind him. Everybody's on edge. Everybody's on edge right now. There's you see, it's not an easy job. We're the ones standing here having to keep everybody in this fucked up place. It's really a big issue. Gets on my nerves. We aren't exactly the most popular guys around here. There's many people whose ones they care about are kept in the inn, but this is our duty. We can't let this continue spreading. As much as anybody might want of that damn place, we're keeping them in there.
I turn and look and I say, so all the sick are in the inn?
Yeah, I was like, yep. All thanks to our family. We're the ones kind of picking up the slack while the innkeeper and the village elder are just, slacking it away inside the inn.
And how many are left remaining outside of the inn?
Most of our own families is luckily unscathed. Only one of our cousins is unfortunately inside there, but even though he's family, we can't let him out. The Sildorf brothers and their families are mostly okay. And he kind of points to these two buildings. Unfortunate situation. One of the brothers and the other's wife are in there. There's a couple of unfortunate farmers in there too. That they have farms on the outcrops of the village, but they like to stop by the inn, towards the end of the day, take a break. Unfortunate saps when all this started breaking out.
And what about the Rugard family?
Those damn weasels. Hey, man, oh, they're weasels. They just disappeared one day. I don't know how or why, but it sure as hell couldn't have been our family. We are loyal citizens of Gwyntar. We would never allow anybody to escape.
Do you know if they have left the quarantine zone?
Like, it's not possible. The king soldiers would never allow that to happen. Relax, man. Honestly, it's hard to tell. The other one's kind of saying, if we're being honest, it's. No, everybody makes mistakes. Even these are still soldiers after all. We have seen no sign of them since, but whether they be outside or inside, we honestly cannot tell.
What was their business in this town?
They were carpenters. Carpenters. He was a carpenter, and his kind of family, worked with him and helped him out. Everybody does a little bit of farming in here as well to get by, but that was his primary trade. Good work around these parts. Trade caravans often come through our parts. The reason being, it's a good place to stop by, trade. The inn's been doing fairly well until now, of course. So he's made a living, helping out the inn, all the farmers and such around here, and of course, with fixing up wagons and the such that pass through the area.
The last time you saw them, did they seem of sound mind?
Like, the other one's like, as sound as that idiot can be. And he's like, hey, shut up, man. He's been I think they were fine. Honestly, everybody's gone a little stir crazy inside of here. But I mean, it's hard to tell with anybody. People get the flu here and there. They get sick, but he seemed alright. He seemed alright to me, but then again, to try and escape, he kind of been right in the head.
Interesting.
And the other one's like, You have no idea how this spreads. That, in my eyes, that man is a traitor to Gwyntar. There's no... It was up to me. He'd be put in shackles the moment we saw him. The other one kind of just sighs, like his potato sack droops slightly as he kind of like shakes his head slightly, but then kind of just shrugs. So how can we be of use to you, good agents?
Well, now that you mention it, you seem to be good judges of the people who live here. We need to find a person who we know for sure is infected, but their disease is in the earliest stage of progression. Can you do that for us?
He's like, they both kind of look at each other, and you just see their eyes slightly like shift, like at each other a little bit, like, well, you'd have to go inside the inn for that. I don't think that's the best idea.
Good point. I just believe perhaps through windows or something you may have had some sort of contact with the people there, but if not, we shall be on our way ourselves.
There are a few, and at this point you do hear a bit of like moaning and like an occasional like like a scream sometimes just bursts out for a second, and then you hear like, and it suddenly gets like silenced from inside the inn.
Interesting.
Is that normal around here?
They're like they both kind of shudder when that happens, but they're like, still can't grow used to that. It happens every now and then. That's what you hear from the worst ones off. From what we
I have another question then. If these men get mad from the disease, how did you prevent them from, breaking out?
He's like, he points over to he points over to they like point at their pitchforks and like, we've it seems they do value their life to some extent. However,
I see.
However, we have had one incident. He tried to get out. I don't want to talk about it.
That's unfortunate.
I pull both of the party members aside, making sure that the other townspeople can't hear.
Okay, you kind of step
And I say,
Yeah.
and I whisper in a low tone, I may be able to enter the inn. This disease should not affect me.
I mean, if we trust the good doctor with these amulets, then I believe we should be fine, but I mean, that's up to each of us individually. I mean, you are obviously of a different kind. But I have faith.
Be careful, these amulets are still experimental, but I feel like we should look in the carpenter's house first. He is a carpenter after all. He may have hidden himself in the house.
That's true.
Yes, you raise valid points. We should first figure out what happens to the Rugards before we decide on a person. For, after all, if we pick on a person, but then we decide, oh no, we first have to wander around and find these Rugards, that will not work out very well. To the carpenter's house, my brothers. Let's go.
Seems we'll have to ask around. I don't think we have no idea where they live. What they lived.
Didn't he say where the carpenter's house is?
Oh wait, true.
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, he didn't say, but the guards could tell you easily that
we can follow. Yeah.
It's the carpenter's house is this one right next to the inn.
Yeah, because he pinged it like before, like the guy
I did
described
mention. Yeah, I did mention it. You're right.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
I guess we exit dialogue, and then we tell them we're going to look around quickly.
I see. Understood. If you need anything else from us, we'll be on the ready. And he kind of like
We appreciate the assistance.
I dare say, do you think the carpenter would mind if we did a little creative rearranging of his household?
The other one's like, well, seeing as he's not there, and then the other one's he's like, well, seeing as he's not there, I guess. And I was like, as a trader, his house is forfeit.
Valid.
Good to hear.
Well, let us go, gentlemen. We have much work to do.
I tell them, make sure you stay away from the inn.
He's like,
For now, I think that's the best. For the best.
kind of like, they kind of just both like salute and like nod towards you.
Right, let's go towards the inn, boys.
Wait, the inn or the?
Wait, hold
Oh,
on.
sorry.
The carpenter.
The carpenter's house. It's close to the inn anyway.
When you also stepped aside and stepped aside and kind of walked by this house, you're suddenly like taken aback as if you've seen like a ghost or something. There's just a woman there, standing inside the house. She seems to be like absent-mindedly arranging some plants, but mostly like she just can't take her gaze off the inn. She's just standing there and just like staring towards it, and her motions are almost like automatic.
Interesting.
We should look into that afterwards, but I think let's look into this house first.
Yes, let's go.
Agreed.
As you head towards, as you head to the carpenter's house, you notice it's there's a certain like well, first of all, there's the door itself, and you notice the door is actually left unlocked. It seems whoever left in a hurry and valued more like escaping than actually making sure their house was intact.
I'd like to send in my defender first, just like walk around and make sure there's no traps or anything.
The defender kind of just like pushes through the door. The door kind of just like swings out, and like as it hits, like a little bit of like dust settles. It kind of like steps through. It's probably been at least a week since these people disappeared. As it kind of like steps through like the main like light coming through the windows, it kind of like looks around, steps around a little bit, and like, and then turns back to you and like just looks at you. Nothing seems to have happened.
Can I take a look at the
I think
door?
it's safe in there, gentlemen.
Just like the lock, if it's damaged or broken or anything like that.
You look at the lock. Yeah, you can roll investigation actually.
Hog 8.
Nice. So the door seems to be like fine. There's nothing besides, a little bit of a scratch from the steel defender kind of just bumping it open. Nothing serious on it.
Okay.
Let's proceed inside.
As you kind of step inside, especially under Malik's step, there's like a little bit like as like the floorboards creak a little bit. And it's fairly light. It's like the middle of the day, and there's light coming in through the windows. There's definitely a bit of like dust in the air, and you see, there's kind of like a main. When you enter this like front area, seems to be kind of like a workshop of sorts, and the doors actually leading in are a bit larger, so you could get various like supplies in and out more easily. And it seems to be like almost like the front of a shop with like a bunch of tools in the back. There's a side door that is also slightly a hinge, slightly opened. It leads into what looks like to be like a living area, and further in the back is like sort of like a bedroom.
Let's do some investigation.
I'd like to just start ripping off the floorboards and seeing if there's hidden anything under the building. I assume there's floorboards because it's like a village building. So I just start with my axes, just fucking.
So you start just
hammer. I don't know, not just like hacking, but just trying to using it kind of like a crowbar.
Like prying them open. I'm assuming your steel defender helps too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it starts like just going from floorboard to floorboard, just ripping things up.
Don't mind me, gentlemen. This will take a little time.
While he's doing that, I'll go to the bedroom and check around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go investigate as well. Look for any hidden doors.
Mm-hmm. So you're heading to the bedroom too, right?
Because he's tearing down the living room, right?
Or like the workshop area, yeah. But I'm kind of assuming he's doing it he's going to each room and doing it one by one.
Yeah, I'm just methodically the whole building.
Just dismantling the fucking building.
Yeah, I'm literally taking the building apart.
Can I go one by one investigating all the rooms?
Yeah. Malik and Vasa, you two can roll investigation, and then or more
24.
perception. Yeah, either one, investigation or perception here in this case. Zamnil, you can roll strength for yourself and your steel defender.
I see. My strength's rather low. I'll just say the defender does the work while I have a couple of more cold ones in the corner.
All right.
Because I don't want to roll low and get a splinter,
Yeah.
All right.
Dies on the first round due to bleeding from the splinter.
Oh, 19, baby.
Nice.
I got a natural 20 for my investigation.
Oh shit. Okay.
Shit.
And Vasa?
15.
Nice. All right. So. Damn. Okay. This is gonna go fast. The steel defender keeps ripping out the floorboards. It's progressing fairly quickly. But it does take maybe a total of maybe half an hour to get through a bunch of these stuff. At one point you see one of the potato sacks kind of peer through the window at all the noise and just kind of shrug off and back away, back to their post. You at this point, and you're kind of lifting up all these floorboards. Vasa, you look through the living room, and on top of you find there's a little bit of this of a fireplace, and you find a couple of what do you call them, you find a couple of things on the mantelpiece, and you notice that there's a couple of them that are fairly like there's a couple of like fairly interesting little like statues that seem to be like either carved out of some sort of stone, or like some are like wrought iron, and they're almost like these like different little miniatures of like cities and various people in like heroic poses. They definitely look like pretty curious, something the carpenter probably would have had trouble making. You also in his like in the living room, there's like a main bed, and there's there's also like a smaller bed, and you find some little loose parchments of paper, mostly a lot of orders between him and the innkeeper, going back and forth, and then like other repairs and documents.
Nothing of specific interest in those parchments, like a few minutes going through them.
Yeah,
nothing like other than just basic, order stuff.
Yeah, it's mostly just basic orders, and yeah, basically just like it's more like an accounting book, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and you also notice like there's some letters there from some distant relatives. You do find that like he has a couple of cousins that live farther off on farms and such. None of them seem particularly interesting, but he does seem to have a lot of extended family outside. And then you happen you're kind of you notice and then the Steel Defender's ripping up all these, or continues like ripping up thing. He's went through a significant chunk of the main like entrance workshop area, and he's like moving on to the living room. As this is happening, Malik's looking around, and he's like, all the floorboards are clinking, like creaking around under him. And then as you're looking around in the living room, you kind of like shove aside the bed, and you're kind of looking around. There doesn't seem to be anything there until a floorboard just like creaks underneath your foot, and you're like with a crashing sound, your foot like collapses into this like hole in the ground. You manage to kind of like pull your foot out of there, and you notice there seems to be like a crushed wooden box below your foot.
I would like to retrieve the box.
I will retrieve the box.
So Zamnil goes over. He's curiously looking at like what happened over there. Like as Malik kind of gets his foot out of there and grabs this. Grabs like this, like it's mostly a bunch of splinters now, but there is a parchment of there is one parchment of paper in there that was left over. In there you find a in there you find just a small letter that says in there. You open it up and it reads, "If you're tired," it reads on the letter, "If you're tired of oppression, if you believe the king is up to no good, if you don't want to live by the oppressive laws anymore, join us. We have agents everywhere. We're only growing in number, and it is our time to strike back." And there's a little flame symbol in the bottom right as a sort of stamp. It looks like a sort of like flyer, and as you flip it to the other side, it says all you see is just this one thing that just says caves.
Most intriguing. Share the information with the rest of the group.
Just as a side note, I'm gonna pocket those statues and stuff, and also kind of keep them on me, and just also show everyone what I found, just because it was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
But keep them just so we can get some more information on them later. But that that pamphlet is quite curious for sure.
They're not very helpful, though, I think.
Not helpful, but maybe help us understand.
A piece in the puzzle.
Yeah, why he may have left. Maybe it's a stretch, but
am I going bipolar, or was it not said what I found? I found nothing through looking through the boards, right?
Yeah, you would have eventually reached the board that Zamno stumbled upon.
Oh, you mean Malik?
Sorry, Malik. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because he like investigated the bedroom, and he also rolled a nat 20, he like instantly discovered the exact spot, basically, where it was. In the other torn up areas, it seems he only really had one hidey hole. There are though a variety, yeah, and in the other areas there is just a variety of like, you know.
Is like the roof accessible of the building?
Not really. Like if you put up a ladder, you can climb up there, but it's not like
But there's like nothing inside, so like.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you could actually. There is a little bit of like what do you call it? A cellar or
attic.
Attic. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. There is a bit of an attic. If you go up there to look around, you mostly find like some like, you know, some like planks and stuff, more tools, some like old like sacks of like flour and other like longer term like storage like foods and stuff. And but that's mostly it. You do actually find some like some things that could be potentially useful. You do find like a couple of bundles of arrows that you suspect might have been used for either hunting or the such. For anybody.
All right, I'll take them on.
And you do actually.
Anything else?
Yeah, you do actually find one, somewhat kind of crude, but fairly functional kind of like shield made out of like wood and leather. It looks fairly functional. Like in this case, it would count as just like a regular shield. It seems to be maybe was commissioned but never sold or anything, something like that.
All right, I'll take the shield. I actually kind of need a shield for myself.
All right, so you take the shield and a bundle of arrows, and a couple of bundles of arrows. There's about 3 of them, and you kind of continue on your way. So are you?
One more thing. I'd like to like use my tools. You know, I probably have. Let me see with my tool equipment. 1 second. Just a moment. I'd like to. Oh, there, thieves' tools. So in my thieves' tools, I would probably have like a thing for like safe cracking, right? Like where I put in my ear to it and like hear something, right? So I'd like to do that and just go throughout the walls, like bang, to like hear if there's like any like thing like hollow or like anything inside the walls. It's like strange because I know this guy's a carpenter, as was remarked earlier. So it's like maybe he's hiding.
So you kind of
and I have a bonus because of observant to my passive investigation.
Yeah.
and shit.
So yeah, roll investigation.
I just see what exactly what observant does.
I think it's actually a bonus to your passive, not your not your rolls. I believe.
Passive. Yeah, perception, intelligence, investigation. Okay, so an investigation you want me to roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the passive would be if you're just walking by and you didn't mention to look.
I got
something.
12 plus 4, 16.
Yeah. So you find and then you there's a little area that seems a little more hollow. You kind of you're still you're kind of goes in there and kind of rips out a chunk of the wood, and you look in there and it seems to be a little pouch. There seems to be it seems to be a rather large space actually, but there's only at the very end there's a little pouch left over, looking like this could have contained something more, but it might have been grabbed as they kind of as they left, or maybe there wasn't anything else there, but you do see a little pouch.
Curious, gentlemen. I take the pouch and I'd like to look what's inside. There's
a couple of gold pieces in there. There's maybe a total of 20 gold pieces inside. Seems to be a lot for a carpenter in these parts. That would be a long time of savings. But it is a fairly well off trading stop. So he could have managed to get a couple of wealthy merchants coming by to charge them a larger sum.
Well, if this was fairly gotten, we'll give it back to him when we meet him. I say as I pocket it.
And so as you, I'm assuming at this point you guys leave the house.
Yeah.
As we're leaving, I want to turn around inside and be well, just to make sure there's nothing left. Then I cast Firebolt on all the tinder that I guess is now there.
A bit of a overreaction, don't you say?
We have to be sure. And if he is there, he will cook alive for being a traitor.
You hear screams from inside of them now.
That would be pretty jokes.
You cast a fireball, and a couple of the kind of all these wood starts to smolder a bit, and flames start to spread through the building. As the right now the fire isn't super noticeable, it's just starting to spread.
I'm not sure the town folk will appreciate this, but we don't have time for that, I say.
It doesn't seem like they're very fond of a traitor.
Perhaps. But someone might have wanted to live there. Still, no time for that sort of thing. We still haven't figured out what happened to the Rugard family.
Let's go back and talk to those two gentlemen we met.
Capital plan. Let's go.
We head back towards the well where we saw them.
So you head back over there, and as you head back, you notice that they're still standing there, kind of just they glance over to the building, to this carpenter's building, curiously every once in a while. They heard a bunch of noise, but they're not quite sure what's going on. You do notice that woman's still staring, and you also notice from this top building, you see you see a kid kind of curiously peek out, look a little bit, and then kind of hide and scamper off back into the building. You approach the two and they're like, "Hey, what's all that noise been?"
We're just investigating.
I mean, all right, I guess. But the other one looks over. It's like, "Did you find evidence of the traitors?"
Well, we found evidence.
Circumstantial evidence, we'll call it.
Yes, we found evidence that they are in fact traitors, and then I show them the note.
He looks over it. The caves. There's only one group of caves I know of around here. They're back in the. There's a certain area back in the forest. Pretty nasty place. We don't often go there. It's at one point there were plans to turn this into a mining village, but things kind of fell through. People mostly stuck to farming, but pretty easy to just slip and break your neck in there.
Would you say there's anyone here who is acquainted with the place? A ranger of some sort? Someone who can guide us?
I mean, we have hunters that come through these parts, but there could be one or two of the people in the inn could potentially be a hunter that stopped by, to drink some ale and got stuck in there.
But no local people could help us through the area.
The only couple of people that deal with the forest more often, I mean, are Mr. Rugard himself. He used to obviously go there to grab some wood and so on. Everybody around here goes to the forest every once in a while. Grab the firewood and so on. Let me think. And then the other. Well, I mean, the dwarven blacksmith. He needs a constant supply of firewood basically all the time. He spends a good amount of time back there. He's got quite the. He needs quite a bit of time, and I think maybe he misses home sometimes. I don't know. There's also.
You think he'd be willing to help us in our little search there, or any of these other people?
I believe so. He's a bit of a strange fellow, just coming into this town, but he's been rather okay. I mean, we've needed a blacksmith in here for quite some time. The past one passed away when I was sorry, I'm mixing voices in between here. He passed away when I was like a young lad. Sylvia, she runs the herbalist shop. She could she spent some time over there as well. Although she's rather overwhelmed right now. And the other one's like, well, yeah, she's literally the only person that can cure us here. She should be doing her job.
Was that you or the guy?
That was me. The guy is not playing as far as you can tell. But I am getting into the role play mood,
Wait. So that was you?
That was just me. Yeah.
Okay.
The lengths I go to for realism.
Anyway,
although that would be funny if he turned out to be fucking sick as well.
I'm gonna pull out the statues and ask them if they have any knowledge of what these might mean. Actually, did they mean anything to me? Did I recognize what any of them meant initially?
Yeah, a couple of the. If you roll a history check.
21.
Nice. So you recognize one of them looks like. Sorry. One of them looks like. You've traveled a little bit in your time yourself, and you notice there's a couple of recognizable kind of like skylines in there. One looks like the capital of Gwintar, with this kind of, it's like this protruding. It looks like a protruding kind of landmass with a couple of buildings, buildings and some intricate pieces out there, kind of out, and there's a little bit of these carved waves around it. Another piece looks like mountains, and there's kind of towers rising up out of the mountains, which you yourself recognize to be Skykeep.
Okay.
And there's a couple of other there's like one or two other little cities that you don't quite recognize. There's two statues of people on there too, but you don't seem to recognize them either. But they both seem to be wearing some. One seems to be like some sort of dwarf, and another one seems to be like a knight.
Okay, for the ones that I don't recognize, I ask them if they know of anything about these.
Well, let me see those. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, that's our obviously the capital right there. He points to the capital.
Can I do my own roll? Can I take my own look at the things to see if I?
Yeah.
I got. I just keep quiet.
Brain not working. So you look at the little statues, and one seems to be he looks at, well, that one's obviously our capital. Even one of the, even without much of an education, you can see that anywhere. He looks at the other one. I can't really tell what the others are. I mean, that might be some sort of folk hero. He points to the one that looks like a knight. The dwarf I don't recognize. But I sorry. There's only really one person that could have. I mean, unless he bought them off some merchants that passed through the area, my guess is only our blacksmith could have made something that intricate.
I see. Okay, thank you for the information.
He's like, the other one's like, huh? Are you? Kind of looks around. Are you suspecting the blacksmith?
Really, that's none of your concern, but he is a possible suspect, as are both of you, if we're being honest here.
He's like, oh, I got it. And he kind of winks.
And
gives you an understanding.
Right, yeah. Okay, whatever. Weird.
I just pat my companion on the shoulder and just motion for us to go. So, gentlemen, shall we be recruiting the help of the herbalist or the blacksmith before we head to the forest?
Yeah, we can go.
Yes.
Have a chat.
Seems like a good idea.
Sorry, which one are you guys heading over to?
I don't know.
Blacksmith.
I guess they said the herbalist's overwhelmed.
Okay, yeah. We can go to the blacksmith then.
Maybe
For now.
I'll be able to get a bit more out of him because of our ethnic share, whatever.
As you you head towards the blacksmith. You notice it's the blacksmith itself isn't lit itself. You notice there's a little bit of a path that leads from it back to like a couple of houses behind. This seems to be the main kind of like workshop area, but you suspect his actual home is back here.
Well, we wander over there, and I'd like to knock on the door politely.
Yeah.
As you head over, you actually see on the front, a dwarf sitting there. He has a beard that's not too long. It's still like a fairly large dwarf beard, but he seems to keep it a bit shorter. He's just kind of sitting there in a rocking chair, and he's just smoking a pipe. And he's like blowing little rings as he seems to, like, every once in a while he kind of just like looks thoughtfully and then kind of just like takes a deep breath. As he
would you be the blacksmith of this village, kinsman?
Oh yes. That do be I. He kind of nods at you with his pipe. He kind of like...
Do you know a lot about the woods here and the caves?
He's like... He looks at you. Oh yes, well... Not much more than the average villager here. I just get my wood over there. The caves I avoid. I'm a bit too old for that kind of stuff. Who might you be?
Could you guide us? Could you guide us to these caves? We're here on a bit of a mission from the king.
He's like, are you sure you want to head over there? It's pretty dangerous.
We must.
We're well equipped enough, I say, brandishing my fucking gun and my steel defender.
He looks at your guy and is like, oh, to be young again. Well, he kind of like gets up from his chair and there's like a bit of creaking as he does so. Alright, let me just get my things. He kind of gets up and heads inside the house. He's like, you just wait out here for a second. As he heads inside the house, he closes his door, kind of reluctantly puts out his pipe. And you just hear some, like, a bit of rummaging for a little while. As he, as he does so for a little while, he, after some rummaging and stuff, he comes out. You see he's like, instead of these kind of like slippers, he's got these like heavier boots on, and like a little bit more of like a coat. All right. Well, let's be on our way then. And he motions you kind of to follow, and he goes off the path a bit further into the forest over there. He goes he goes one second. Just check something. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where it goes. Sorry, I got a little confused. So he goes to just follow the motions you to follow into the woods. Sorry, I was just figuring. Yeah, he takes you deeper into the forest. As you walk past, you notice there's a bit of this Oh wait, sorry, that's the screen I was trying to move. I was just trying to update the stream screen. I'm like, why is it not moving? He takes you further up here into the into the forest, and you see there's like some areas with like these larger like rocks beginning, and there's some trees like growing on top of them. And there's there's one area where there's a little bit of there's a little bit of an opening in the rocks, and he kind of like eventually motions you to follow. He's like, well, let's get a move on then. And he brought like a little torch with him. He lights it with a little bit of, he seems to pull out some little like powder and it like lights the torch.
As he does that, I cast light on his torch.
He's like, oh. All right, well, thank you, but you could have told me that was gonna happen. All right,
You're very welcome.
Let's proceed. He kind of holds it out a little further out ahead of him.
Wait. But we have dark vision.
Yeah. Sorry, you do have dark vision, but I think it's not in color.
Yeah, it's black and white.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and he was doing it more as also like a courtesy to the rest of you as well, to like in case anybody couldn't see. So he goes along with his torch, pointing it around, and like it's a pretty small entry. You go a little bit, you see there's a couple of passages, but like most passages in this area where you entered, some of them go into these like little tiny crevices that seem to extend a little bit further, but like no way you could get inside of them. And there's a couple of passages in different ways, and you try going down one, down another. But most areas, it's more like a hollowed out cave with a couple of like veins through it. But all of them that you see seem to just go to dead ends. He's like, oh, as you see, this area hasn't been developed very, very well. It's my brethren would hear this is some sort of joke. It would have been a strip mined in no time, but I found a couple of little veins of like iron and even a tiny one of silver at one point, but I think you would have to go much deeper to find anything of real value. Honestly, this is probably the largest area I've seen. I haven't really taken too much interest in here to explore many other areas.
Well, come, my comrades. Let's investigate. We don't need your help anymore, Elder. If you want to go back to your home.
So he's like, all right, you younglings, I'll leave you be. If you ever want to stop by and chat, I'd be happy to reminisce you with some tales.
Might just take you up on that kind offer. With that, I'd go into the cave.
He goes out. He's like, then for a second looks at his torch. Will you be needing this?
I suppose for my friends here who aren't as gifted at seeing in the dark.
So it's like,
I always have light that I can cast otherwise. Okay.
he's like, all right, I'll be bringing this with myself then. He kind of brings the torch with him back. I wish you good luck. And heads on out like the main kind of entrance.
Thank you, sir.
At this point, you're in this like kind of main cave area. You see some old parts on the ground. Like some animals probably sometimes like use this as their nest. But being so close in proximity to people, most of them probably like driven out, as it's not that far from like a human settlement. Yeah, the cave isn't that big. It's at most like 10 meters in diameter, and there's a couple of smaller passages going in, but none of them go more than a couple of meters in each direction.
All right, well, I guess we proceed. I'd keep my rifle raised and go in.
So are you going down these passages, or what are you doing?
Well, yeah, down the passages,
Pick
I guess.
one, yeah.
Yeah. You notice that most...
I just use like my axe, just like a mark in like the stone, like which way we came to, like, so we don't get lost.
Yeah. As you're going through, you notice that like a couple of them are literally only like a meter or two down, and like they start to like get smaller, and that's it. There's one that's a little bit bigger. It goes a little bit further, and it also like it goes into a couple of smaller cracks here and there, but it seems to also just be a dead end. However, Zamnil, as you reach the very end of this tunnel, you look around and seem to you're about to you like as you turn around, you realize you hear like a little like little water droplets somewhere.
Can I make out where they're coming from?
Yeah, roll investigation. 14? 13.
Oh,
13, sorry. As you kind of try and put your ear to the walls everywhere, and you like if you went straight down into this main passageway is basically straight down the main cave, and it's kind of to the left, so it's somewhere like off in like the cave you entered is around here, and the water dripping. Let me see if I can draw this line properly. Yeah, it's more like. Oh wait, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Wait, why does this screen not see it? So you guys can see that. I guess maybe while it's not in focus, it doesn't show my. Anyway, it's leading from like the upper right to like a bit to like the upper center. Like, so if you guys are around here, it's leading up to more this like rocky patch up here. So it's like,
gotcha. There's
probably like a wall of stone between you, but through some cracks and other stuff. Further in that direction, you hear some water droplets.
Let's investigate.
There's some water dropping over there. It's rather strange.
I'll cast light just on my wand, so we have just kind of a moving source.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you've kind of reached the end of this passageway, so it seems like this cave system you're part of doesn't have any obvious route to get to the sound of those droplets. Because you've basically reached a bunch of dead ends.
And it's rock? Completely rock? Like not dirt or anything?
It's almost entirely rock. Like there's like, there's like rock, and it's a mix of rock and earth here and there.
Sure.
in some areas. But in this area now, it's mostly rocky, with like sediment and whatever. And you, but like there's some like gaps in the rocks here and there, but all of them are like up most like a fist like big.
Give me a second. Well, I don't see how it can get there, but they may have an alchemist or herbalist in this village. If they, if they have the right things, I may be able to devise some sort of explosive for us to clear the way. My alchemist supplies.
Interesting. That could work.
I say we head back to the village.
We can.
Or we can investigate around the outside of the cave. Maybe
We can
there's
take
a
a look.
hidden
Yeah.
entrance.
How about
Such-
you gentlemen do that, and I'll go get the supplies.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So at this point, Zamnil heads over to the herbalist.
And yeah, I guess I'll just ask her if there's also any like alchemist or other person who has like. Anyway, yeah, go on.
So you head over to the herbalist, and meanwhile, Vasa and Malik continue to search around in these cave areas. Maybe they can find like other entrances into like a cave system or something. So Zamnil, you head over to the alchemist. You also notice the two kind of people in front of the inn. They've begun unloading some of the stuff from your cart. One of them like waves over to, is like, hey, you sorry, did you mention you had you could potentially enter the inn?
I could later on, but it's for a very specific purpose. Why do you ask?
Well, we do need to get some of these supplies in there somehow. We would need your help with that when you have a moment.
We'll get to that very soon. We just have a slightly more urgent matter to get back to. But, what would help me get to that faster? I need to see, if there's an alchemist or some other person with some similar supplies. Perhaps a merchant here who has a stock of explosives.
He's like, oh. And then the other one's like, oh, maybe that weasel will be good for something. He's like, and the other one has like a little like light bulb moment above his head. You see, there is one merchant that got stopped on his way. There's one merchant that got stopped. He's trapped inside the inn right now. He was traveling through these parts and got stuck. I believe he's in the premium suite of the inn. He's last I heard, he's barricaded himself up in there and ain't letting anybody in. I'd be careful though. He's got a nasty big fella with him. Cave your skull in type of guy.
An orc of some sort?
Yeah, he seems to be. He looked really. He was like huge, all messed up. He's wearing a bunch of. He like draped him in a bunch of clothes to try and hide him a little bit more. But I did see some sort of tusks coming out from inside.
not sure that would be a problem. I say, spinning my rifle around like a fucking cowboy.
It's like,
but thank you for the warning.
it's like, well, if you can take care of him, all the better. And as this, and he's like, he's been carrying all sorts of supplies. There are some things that he couldn't hide away in his room that might be useful, but it is at the back of the inn. But I think he kept most of the real goods inside his room up there.
Okay, sorry, just to clarify, the inn, you also mean like the tavern where like all the sick people are?
Yeah, sorry, the tavern. Yeah. It's sort of like It's like the first floor is like where you have food and stuff like that, and the second floor is
yeah. Just making like 100% sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to just quickly go to the alchemist, not the alchemist, the herbalist first, to see maybe if there's some sort of like plants that have like extracts of like sulfur and shit. But it's a long shot, but just to make sure.
Yeah. So you go over to the herbalist. Before you get there, we'll pan over to
of course,
to the others for just a sec. You the rest of you you go kind of deeper into the woods looking for other cave entrances. You find some here and there, but it seems a lot of areas are kind of like either like collapsed or like there's like rubble here and there. Some areas look like maybe there was some sort of construction going on at some point, but it looks to be very, very old. You recall that this was at one point tried to be some mining activity was trying to be started in this town, but it kind of things fell through.
Any like collapsed entrances, like other entrances that may have partially been constructed? Anything out of the ordinary?
Yeah, you mostly see a bunch of like large rock outcrops and some areas that like look like they may have been leading into like something, but they're just like big piles of rubble. So they definitely look like some like potential entrance or two were like sealed up.
Right.
Any of them look recently sealed up?
Not quite. A lot of them already have like moss growing over them and stuff.
Okay. Well, I turn and say, one of these could be from where we heard the water coming from.
Yeah. Is there any way we could like kind of like following where we initially went in and like kind of following it from above or something or around and kind of pinpointing a general area of where the water might be on this like other side, or see if there's anything around?
Roll survival.
Okay. That's a natural 1.
I got a 5.
Both of you not being particularly rangers of any sorts, you kind of you end up actually wandering around in the forest for about another half hour. You get your sense you're a little lost for a while, but you're kind of confused. You end up like eventually walking into the wall and kind of then using that to like trace your way back around and get out of the forest. But you did at least confirm the wall seems to go all throughout the forest.
Well, at least we've confirmed that.
No cracks in the wall that we noticed?
No cracks that you seem to see. The wall isn't like very thick, but it would be hard with most standard materials to get through. It is fairly tall. with a big ladder, you could probably get over it, but you do hear like certain clanking of boots on the other side. So you hear certain like it seems the patrols on the other side are fairly regular.
I turn to Vosa and I'm like, if someone wanted to escape, this would be a good place to do it.
That is true. That is definitely true.
Let's head towards the cave again.
Yeah, to meet that way. Yeah.
All right. At this point, Zamnal reaches the herbalist, and or even a little bit before this point, because from you guys wandering around, he reaches the herbalist, and right away, even as he's already approaching, he feels like the faint smells of like lavender and a bunch of other flowers. It smells very pleasant. You notice the house has this kind of garden area in the back. It's got all sorts of like bushes and other stuff there. You do know, and like you do notice, through the window you hear. You hear though like a little bit of shouting. And you're like, you can't quite make it out until you get closer.
See?
So you proceed inside?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you go inside the front, and it's kind of like you open up the front door, enter through, and you hear like. And there's just a man there like, what are you are you? How can you not? You're telling me you can't cure my son? What good are you anyway? And you just see this woman kind of just like taking a back, standing at the back, just like just kind of getting yelled at by this angry man, and she kind of stands further and further back behind the counter, like, please, I'm telling you, just. I can't possibly do anything. This is way beyond my means. Well, I'm sorry. I wish I could help, but there's not that much I can do. This is. I wasn't trained for this. And he's like, and he like kind of comes up to the front of the desk and slams it. It's like, do something about this. My son's in there. He's gonna go crazy like the rest of them. You heard what's going on inside there.
At this point, I would brandish my rifle politely, and I would say, I'm sorry to interrupt this fine conversation, but I'm an agent of the king, and like, I need a little bit of urgent help.
He's like, you should do something about her. If you're an agent of the king, make her do her job.
I'm sure justice will come, but there are more urgent matters to attend to. All will come in due good time when this problem is resolved and the auditors come and make sure we check everything. However, right now I need help. You, good madam, do you have anything that can be used with an extract of sulfur or something of the sort? Something I could use for a bit of a bombastic purpose, if you will. A bit of explosive.
Is she? First of all, roll intimidation for the guy.
What my intimidation is? Where is that one? All right. 15.
He looks at you and is like, oh, he kind of like puts his hands up. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't. He does a little bow. I didn't mean to. Of course, you're an agent of the king. You must know best. Forgive me, sire.
It is no problem. Just let us. Just let the professionals take care of it.
He like grits his teeth for a moment, like, looks over at the lady and is like, of course, forgive me. And he kind of like bows to you repeatedly as he kind of backs out of the building, and then you see him kind of like run off home. He seems to head over to one of these two buildings. He's like, oh, I thank thee. That was an unpleasant situation.
The best thanks you could give me would be to help me out with my task. It's very important.
Sorry, She rests on the counter and just like, I need a moment.
I see.
Right.
I patiently wait. Just I don't move a single muscle. I'm just standing there waiting, like.
She sighs a little bit.
The only thing that moves is my beard growing.
Is she she looks at you like, thank you. You really helped me out. It's something I still can't grow quite accustomed to yet. It's been rather difficult. All my life I've been helping these people, and now I'm powerless to do anything about this. Best I can make them is a soothing tea.
There. Just, see, we actually know of an experimental cure, and the faster you can help us, the faster we can get it spread to people.
Oh, of course. My own skills are only the basics. I can only imagine what the one miracles they do in the cities are capable of.
Indeed.
Please, anything I can do.
Those explosive plants, sulfur, anything of the sort.
Well, kind of racks her brains for a couple of moments. It's like, I don't know. Explosives is not something I really usually deal with. That's a peculiar request.
Of course, but perhaps there's plants, that have a high content of sulfur in your inventory or anything of the sort. If you don't, it is no problem. I'll be on my way.
Well, what sort of purpose might this be for? Looks like
we need to blow some rocks away, and unfortunately, my arsenal's a little short on that matter, if you'll pardon the pun.
like,
get it? Short? He's a fucking dwarf.
Yeah, she slightly chuckles a little bit. It's a little it's like a chuckle / sniffle. She's still shook, but you help lighten the mood a little bit. She's like, well, there is the discard cauldron. She looks on and is like, follow me. Just if you don't mind, could you put the gun away?
Of course. I stowed away.
She opens like a door leading to the back, and suddenly you're like a whole bunch of smells like assault you. There's it's really like it's a mix of like a bunch of pleasant smells, like sort of like perfumes or something, and various like you enter and there's like a bunch of like you see there's a ton of jars. A couple of them are various salves for like various like burns or
I see.
and such. And you see there's a couple of things standing like light on a slight simmer, kind of light boil. Not a light boil, but like they're just slightly like crackling. But then you see like this big cauldron off to the side. And it's kind of like it's moving almost like unnaturally. Like there's sometimes like a bubble will rise to the top, like poof, like a little bit of smoke comes out of it. It's like a mix of purplish and like this like murky green streaks through it, and she's like, my dear old grandmother would kill me if she saw this, but I kind of just anything that doesn't go all that well just kind of goes in that cauldron until I have the time to take it out. I've been so busy recently. It's really been just piling up. Honestly, I'm kind of afraid to touch it at this point. It's rather unstable, and you notice that like there's no jars near the cauldron. Like the shelves and stuff near the cauldron have been kind of cleared a little bit.
It may come in handy. Do you mind if I
like,
peruse?
oh, please, if you can get rid of it, all the better. I don't want that thing in here. I just it's honestly.
I take the pot and I'd put it on my. I like snap
defender?
for my defender to follow me in, and I'd put it on its back for it to leave.
Okay, can you roll a strength check for the defender?
Okay, wait. Okay, yeah, sure. Because I don't want the shit to spill and fucking melt the world, but. Wait, like how heavy it is? Because if it's so heavy, it's not like realistic for it to carry it out.
It can carry it out, but it just would be a bit difficult to do.
Okay. +2.
Your defender would be moving like turtle pace, but he would be able to
17.
Okay, yeah, I see it in roll 20. Okay, nice. So you rolled a 17. At that point, it's able to pick it up and move it up. You see only the slightest tiny little thing like drop off the top. It lands on the floor like it starts to sizzle a bit and melt at the floor. She quickly throws a bunch of water on it. But as she throws the water on it, it suddenly like burns into the flames. She's like, oh my god, I'm good. She throws another pot of water on it, and the second pot of water seems to put it out. She's like, oh.
I'd like to use my alchemist tools to get a little bit of the stuff and see if like I can do something with it, like I get a sample of the stuff and try to.
Yeah, this would be like, I guess an Arcana check, I think. Yeah, roll like an Arcana check.
All right, and do my alchemist tools do anything, or are they like just a prerequisite?
Yeah, they're more like a prerequisite.
All right, I'll roll my Arcana then.
I think
16 plus 2, tools, 22.
Don't you apply the proficiency?
Oh yeah.
I think otherwise you don't get a proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so then I do have proficiency with alchemist tools, so that's 24 total then.
Oh, nice. Is that, wait, where did you roll that? Oh, roll 20. Right?
You roll 20. 16 plus 6, and then plus 2 from proficiency.
Oh, nice, okay. So, you pull out you have like a little bit of like vials, and it's kind of like he's like, do you mind? And she like, you also she allows you to borrow some of her stuff, like that's kind of standing there. You manage to scoop up a little bit of it. The glass seems to get like a little bit of a weird tint on it, but it doesn't seem to eat through the glass itself. And you kind of like swirl it around, experiment around with it, drop the tiniest little drop onto some stone and stuff. It seems to like eat through the stone a little bit. You notice though, you recall that earlier when she threw the water on it, it seemed to burst into flames, and you notice that so you try to put like a little drop of it and a little drop of water together, and it does like a little and like fizzles out.
So it's kind of like dry ice, where it's like if I put water on it, it'll like.
Yeah, it'll like combust, or like if you know, like when you throw like sodium in water or something, it like fucking.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll I say, do you mind, dear, if
Or is it
I
sodium or-
get some
yeah, I think
water
it's
from
pure
you and a couple more vials?
She's like,
I can pay if
she
you
looks
need.
at you, is like, oh, I see what you have in mind. I think. Yeah, sure. I honestly, you can have it free of charge. I don't mind.
How generous! Thank you. It's for the good of the kingdom.
I understand. You've given me much needed rest. Oh, I don't know if I could handle another person like that coming over here.
I suggest you lock up your doors, my dear. This man might be back for more.
I don't know if I can do that. My dear grandmother would turn in her grave if she knew I closed my doors on somebody.
Fair enough. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
She also says if you do need more water, she kind of gives you like a bucket and a bucket of water. You could also, there's the well as well. You could there's plenty of water there as well.
Thank you. I'll keep a note of that. On that, I'd like to get back to the caves.
You kind of course, and if you ever I can only make the more basic bombs and stuff, but if you ever have some minor injuries, I would be happy to help.
Most excellent. That may come in handy knowing what we're gonna do.
It's like, oh,
I give her
kind of curious. Oh,
like,
what is the plan?
sorry. Well, you see, I don't want to divulge all these state secrets, so.
He's like, oh, I understand. You're an agent of the crown. I can understand.
Thank you for the understanding.
I wish you well.
No, I really do. I really must hurry.
At this point, your steel defender at this point is almost like it had to go from its 2 feet.
I can carry the buckets instead of
yeah,
the
you carry the bucket and some of the other stuff, but it's kind of like almost doing like a crawl. But it's managing to.
I see.
Well, so not more of a crawl, but it's just walking very gingerly, not to make sure.
Can I like replace its like back legs quickly with like wheels, so like it goes faster with the big load?
It might be okay here, but you do think it's probably advisable not to do that because the terrain is more rocky once you get to the caves.
What about tracks?
That would take like longer to do. Like that would be like,
okay, fair enough. I'll keep that in mind as a thought for the future, knowing this new experience.
Yeah.
All right then. So I guess I make it as a cage. You can pan back to the other guys for now.
Yeah. So with the others, you group up at the caves, and actually, like around this time is when you guys end up regrouping. So you guys have like a little bit of time to like you're looking around and stuff still, but the only thing as you return out of actually, Zamnil, as you're approaching back to them, from like you're kind of just looking around, and you realize the only like really other place that's kind of close to the woods is this like little logging shack over here. But that's kind of like almost like a communal place that's used by some of the villagers.
Does it look like it was made by the carpenter?
It could have been constructed by him, but not quite. It seems very old. It's probably even before. It could be before his time. It seems to be. He probably did some repairs on it, but it was probably before his time.
I think it's probably best to ignore it for now.
So you continue on over to the caves, right?
Yeah.
So you and you meet up back with back with Malik and Vossa near the caves, carrying this like sorry. You meet up back at the caves with this larger like defenders carrying this cauldron, and they see like, and they look at you, and there's all this weird like kind of, there's almost like a trail of this like purplish smoke following you as you go along.
Nothing to see here.
Actually, the only one other thing you noticed as you were coming back is you noticed that this building now, the carpenter's house, is very much on fire, and the two guys in the potato head sacks and the other, there's like another two people also with sacks on their heads, like kind of like feverishly putting it out with buckets of water from the well.
I just snickered to myself. What an idiot, I say, thinking back to the man who lit it on fire.
As you continue, but you kind of continue on, and they seem not to notice you being too distracted by this to notice your trail of purple smoke as you go off into the woods.
Yeah.
You end up reaching the cave. You now, all of you are kind of grouped up in like this like central, like kind of more circular part of the cave before going further into any one of the like crevices.
All right, fellas.
And what do you
I
have
have
there?
here? It's a bit of a mixture from the herbalist. It's not what we'd classically make of explosives back in the guild, but I think this will do just fine. It's a refuse from all the herbalist's work, we'll say. With water, it makes a very fine reaction. Do I know that the fucking there's another, what's his name, artificer in the team? Like, do I know that that's his profession?
Yeah, you would know that from the documents you got, because all of you got like a sort of like a little dossier on your like fellow like agents.
Nice. Then I say there, my good sir, would you mind helping me, rig this up to have a bit of an explosive reaction? It's started by water.
So Malik offers his help, and so what are you guys trying to like fashion here? What's the mechanism?
I guess we'll like try to. How about like we'll get a rope, like fashion mechanism with rope and pulley to like sort of like as a pulley, right? I'll use a piton, that thing that they put like in walls because I have that in my pack. You put it like in walls to like help you get handholds to climb, right?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I blanked out for just a second.
Okay, a piton is a thing that you like jam in the wall to like make a handhold for you to help climb it. Like thieves and shit use it to like, and assassins.
Yeah. Do you have those on you?
Yeah, it's part of my starter kit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'll get one of those, and I'll use that to like put a rope around it as like a pulley, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get the bucket of water, and I'll put the bucket of water on like the other end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
it
the bucket of water is holding is over the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll have another like rope that has like holds a lid for the what's it called for the kettle. And I just want to do is I want to quickly pour a bunch of water into the kettle, and then not a kettle, the pot, and then just have the lid go on top so like it has like a tiny bit more time to like build some quick pressure.
So you have a pot, a bucket.
Okay, yeah, you know what? This is starting to sound far-fetched now that I describe it.
No, I'm curious. I'm down to hear this. So like, it's a bucket, and it's like, I'm guessing you're trying to tip the bucket, right?
Yeah.
And it goes what into the pot? Does the pot have water or that liquid in it?
that liquid, and I want to pour water in there, and then just quickly pour it all in one go, and then put the what's it called, the lid on top, so then a little bit more pressure can build.
I see. Okay.
And maybe I don't know, have some rocks on the lid, just hold it down for a little bit longer too.
So you're gonna basically take the water, pour it, have a pot of the mystery liquid, pour water in it, close the door, close the thing, close the rocks, and shove it somewhere.
I want to have the thing the thing already by the rocks. I want to blow up, because I'm trying to just do this so it blows up in a way that doesn't fucking melt me.
Yeah.
That's that's the whole purpose of this, is to get the water in there without having the fizzy shit melt me.
Okay. So both.
Unless anyone has a fucking simpler plan, because this is starting to sound way too
Got Rube Goldberg fucking. Then you have a couple of marbles. They roll down the sides of the walls. They knock over a banana. It fucking feeds.
Exactly.
It feeds a monkey that goes over and fucking bats a baseball.
Exactly. It's just starting to sound like that. So I'm having my doubts now.
Man, it's better than anything I can do.
Alternatively, I could just fucking YOLO it. I'm just gonna have a bucket and just pour all the water in, put a rock on the lid, and just fucking run for my life.
That alternatively also works.
I think it'll work better because the way I originally planned it sounded like it'll just overflow without actually blowing up. It'll it'll melt some rock, but it won't blow up like I want it to.
You do recall that when you mixed the water and the thing, it reacted almost instantly in a pff.
True. So then, can I throw just the bucket, just heave it so all the water just goes into the thing?
In the cauldron?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
the
water
could try something like
over.
that. Or even use that pulley system you mentioned earlier to
Wait a second. We have a fucking wizard. Doesn't he have mage hand?
You may be right.
I was waiting for somebody to say that.
You motherfucker.
Hold on. Can I even there's a certain... Hold on.
Yeah, I think there might be a weight limit on how much it
Yeah.
Okay, but a bucket of water surely is within it.
10 pounds.
Oh, okay. That's actually more than I thought.
I mean, does that look like it would be enough to blow the thing?
A pretty large bucket of water would be around 40 pounds.
Wow.
But you could also try using the mage hand to push something, for example, or interact, trigger it from a distance in some other way.
Just use the pin thing, put the bucket on top, and then have the mage hand like push it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's only
do
carry,
that, yeah.
right?
Yes, let's do that then.
All right. So you the two of you or actually maybe just Zamnil can just roll second, let me just check what this
Did I get any bonuses because my buddies helped me rig this shit up?
I just realized I freaking messed up the game log. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so you're gonna roll this at advantage because Malik's helping you.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess with the fucking Vasa too. But yeah. Anyway, so what do I roll?
Vasa's more so for the long triggering it from a distance, so you don't get melted.
Yeah. Fair enough. So what do I roll?
Yeah. 1 second. Sorry, I just need to check what makes sense. I just don't have the character sheets as easily available as I thought. Okay, here we go. This is like making a contraption. This could be
Sleight of hand?
Yeah, like sleight of hand or survival. I'll let you use sleight of hand for this.
I'll use sleight of hand then. Once, 7. My advantage, 11. So 11 is my highest.
11's your highest? Okay, so you you manage to kind of like arrange this thing. It's kind of okay, like it's okay. It's a little wobbly, but it kind of works. At this point, it's a little like looks a little bit unstable up there, but it seems to be in position. And at this point, so you guys, I guess, move back and use the mage hand.
Yes. So we'll move back. For me, only 30 feet because I need to be within 30 feet.
Okay, so you move back. As the three of you are moving back, you're almost out of the crevice, and the bucket like tips over. All three of you roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh shit!
All of them?
Yeah, all three of you.
Nice. 5.
14.
18.
So, as you were kind of like the last one of us to trust, as you were going to be doing the mage hand part as the others, they already were kind of turning the corner, like out of like the crevice and like to the sides. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, it's almost like slow motion in front of you. You just see the bucket going like, and the water just like pouring out. You're like, oh shit! As the water kind of hits, you see it entering, and suddenly this whole pressure wave just like you have just a moment as you kind of jump to the side, and there's just a giant explosion. Rocks go showering everywhere. You manage to jump quickly to the side, but a bunch of rocks like shrapnel comes flying out the crevice and catch your legs. You take about 1d6 points of bludgeoning damage. Yeah, you know what? I think we might go back to using roll 20 for certain stuff, just because I realized like I can't actually roll in the campaign thing.
Okay.
You could probably make your own character, but that would be annoying.
Oh yeah. No, actually, yeah, I could. I'll have to check how to roll like custom values though. Okay, so you take only 2 points of bludgeoning damage as these rocks. Or more like this might even be piercing at this point because they're more like shrapnel.
1 piercing, 1 shrapnel.
Yeah. Well, shrapnel would be piercing damage.
Sorry, 1 piercing, 1 bludgeoning.
Yeah.
Fucking up. I pat him on the shoulder and say, "Well, that's the price of science, unfortunately."
Truly, that is, yes.
Your leg's a little like bloody, but you managed like your ropes kind of like and stuff like your cloak kind of is able to, and your clothes like are enough to kind of like soak it up.
Okay. I'm proficient in medicine, so I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you go down there and like kind of like, you know, tighten some of your clothes around it and like make sure like the bleeding doesn't continue.
So I would like to see what our efforts have done.
Yeah, as you're kind of like coughing a little bit as you turn, like you guys kind of like peek over to this thing, and you just see like it's all like really hazy and smoky. There's all this like rock dust in the air. It smells like putrid. You kind of start like coughing a little bit as you head inside. But you do notice inside, you've blown your way through this through this wall, and like because you kind of put into like more of like one of the crevices towards where you heard the water. There's like no signs of the cauldron or the bucket anymore. They've been basically vaporized. And those of you with dark vision can see it opens up a little bit and leads into like another section of caves that goes like lengthwise, like that, and you realize now from like trying to understand spatially where this is. The cave leads a little bit like, let me try it. Like kind of the cave is going like sort of this direction, back and forth. What do you choose to do at this point?
I guess we go through then.
Yeah.
If nobody objects.
Yeah, no.
At this point,
I guess with the rifle in hand, you know.
Quick question: how long are you guys good to continue this for? 11-ish.
I mean, this could be a good place to end. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
come back next week to find on the next episode of
Midday movie.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a good spot to end it too. Kind of on the cusp of something, you know.
Yeah. All right, guys. All right, and with that,
pretty good.
Find
for
out
the
what's
first
in the
session.
caves. Yeah. We flew by this. I am glad I did the preparation I did because I don't think I prepared much farther than this, to be honest.
I mean, there's still some threads we didn't explore, you know, like a couple things back there, but.
So yeah, that was pretty sick. You guys did not go along any of the paths I expected, but that's the classic. So
D&D in a nutshell.
Yeah, that was sick. That was good thinking. All right, so we'll continue on next time.
All right, see you around, boys.
Guys.
Alrighty. Good night, guys. See you.